This week, we're talking all about the biggest lifting mistakes I see beginners make and how to avoid and/or fix them. Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Bri Ogletree. I'm a virtual trainer and I teach you how to fit fitness into your lifestyle so that you can achieve and maintain your fitness goals, body goals, long term. I know you're excited about starting your lifting journey, or you are excited about lifting if you've already been lifting for a little bit, but I'm going to share the biggest mistakes I see, mistakes that lead to injury, that lead to burnout, that lead to lack of consistency when it comes to working towards your fitness goals. I've made all of these mistakes at one point or another in my almost 20 years of lifting weights. I'm sharing this video with you in hopes to help you avoid some of the biggest mistakes I've made in my lifting career and hopefully help you get to your goals a little bit faster. Before we get started, be sure to like this video if you're watching on YouTube and consider subscribing to the channel for more fitness videos just like this. And if you're listening on the podcast, be sure to also subscribe for more episodes just like this. Okay, mistake number one is not having a plan. I talk about this all the time. I've talked about this in several episodes. Not having a plan is what holds a lot of beginner lifters back from seeing the results that they want to see in the gym. Going to the gym without a plan or starting your workout without a plan is going to waste a lot of time. You're going to spend a lot of extra time thinking about what exercises you're going to be doing or choosing exercises in the gym, and it's going to lead to suboptimal results because you're not really focused on any one particular thing. You're kind of just picking and choosing as you go. Not having a plan also makes it really hard to track your progress when it comes to lifting weights. So it's hard to track week from week if you're getting stronger, if you're getting better in particular lifts, because it's hard to keep track of what you're doing. If you're choosing one variation of an exercise one week and then a different variation of an exercise the next, it becomes very difficult to track your progress. This is why I always recommend having some type of plan when you go into the gym so that you know what you're focusing on and you know what to look for when it comes to improving your lifts, and you can track that from week to week for several weeks at a time. I recommend sticking to the same series of workouts for at least 4 weeks and up to 6 to 8 weeks to help you see how you're getting stronger in particular exercises or variations of particular exercises. This way we start to not only see the progress because we're tracking what we're doing, but we also start to feel it as well. We may feel more smooth in a certain exercise. We may be able to lift a heavier weight. It's just easier to notice progress when we're working on a series of exercises for a particular period of time. If we're jumping back and forth week to week doing different things all the time, it becomes a little bit more difficult to track our progress. It can also lead to suboptimal results because we may not know what we lifted the week prior, and we may do a weight that is completely under what our capabilities are. Sometimes we just need some extra data to tell us what we did the week prior and help push us to getting a little bit stronger in the gym, picking up that heavier weight, and moving our fitness progress along. And again, it's going to be more efficient because you're going to know what you're doing before you even start your workout, and you can just go right to those exercises and get them done and then head out of the gym. Now, if you're not sure how to put a strength training program together or a lifting workout together, I have a great free resource called Train Like a Pro. It's a cheat sheet that walks you step by step through how exactly to put together your own lifting workout so you're not sitting in the gym looking like a deer in headlights, and you have a plan and you know what you're doing before you even get your workout started. So if you're interested in that, it's definitely linked in the description box or the show notes below, but you can also go to podcast.briogletree.com/pro to grab that free cheat sheet. It's going to help you map out a month's worth of workouts from how often you're training per week all the way down to the particular exercise to the sets and reps that you're going to be doing in your workout. So it's definitely a great resource to grab if you're not sure how to do your own exercise programming, or if you're not sure how to put lifting workouts together, definitely grab the resource and you'll be good to go. Mistake number 2 is going to be lifting too heavy or doing what's called ego lifting. Now, I talked about this last week, but ego lifting is essentially just going as hard as you can in the gym, whether that means lifting as much weight as possible per your set or going as intense as you can in order to see how strong you are or how intense your workout can be. Now, this can be problematic for a lot of different reasons. The main reasons are it's unsustainable for your fitness journey. We can't go into every single workout going 100%, giving our 100% max effort in everything we do. This is most likely going to lead to, if not injury, it's going to lead to burnout. It may also make you extremely fatigued and sore to the point where you might not want to show up for your next lifting session. Strength training and lifting weights requires a lot of consistency over time. And when we are constantly missing sessions because we can't recover from the previous session, then that is just taking away from our fitness goals and not really adding to it. So try to avoid ego lifting or lifting too heavy too often in order to stay in the game a little bit longer. So how are we going to fix this? In order to fix the problem or the mistake of ego lifting, we have to understand progressive overload. So like I said, we can't go hard in every single workout every single time. We need to give our body time to recover, but we also need to progress our workouts in a way that is going to keep us progressing over time. So progressive overload allows us to do that. We train at percentages of our max lifts or our max efforts. We're able to continue building on those max efforts over time. So for example, if you have a 1 rep max squat of 180, you would maybe cut that down to about 60 to 75% of that max, depending on the volume and the amount of reps you're doing per set, in order to keep progressing that 1 rep max. In my group training program, we really only test maxes every 6 months. We don't touch maxes a lot, and we train at different rep schemes, sets of 6, sets of 8, sets of 10, at a percentage of our 1 rep max to eventually work to a new 1 rep max. Doing this is going to allow you to get a lot of practice in that movement. So squatting, for example, you're going to get a lot of practice squatting, working on your form, and engaging the proper muscle groups at the right times in synchronicity so that you can lift a little bit better and a little bit heavier over time. This does require some patience, but it's absolutely worth it. I personally, once I started lifting this way, have seen major strength gains because I was patient, I worked on form, and I didn't push the weight too much to the point where I couldn't recover from my workouts. My recommendation to you is to start lighter than you think you need to and progress through the training month. So in my program, we do 4-week training blocks and we progress the weight as we go through that training month. The first week is usually the lightest, quote unquote, deload week. The idea is to use the lightest weight and then progress that weight over time. Avoid ego lifting, use progressive overload to your advantage, and have some patience when it comes to your lifting, strength training, fitness journey. Mistake number 3 is lifting too light. So there's opposite ends of the spectrum here. Some people tend to lift way too heavy for their workouts or sets, and some people lift way too light for their sets. So we should be working hard when it comes to lifting weights and strength training, but it's a controlled hard. So again, we're not going 100% all out, but we do still want to be working hard. So if you're not sure about weight selection and you just tend to just choose light weights because you're maybe nervous of going heavy, or you're not really sure what heavy, quote unquote, feels like, a good rule of thumb to use is pick a weight where you could do 1 to 2 reps above what your rep range is. So if you're doing a set of 10, for example, you want to pick a weight where you can do that exercise for at least 1 to 2 more reps before you may not be able to finish the rep. So you're still going to do 10, but if you wanted to, you could do 1 to 2 more reps. So if we think of it that way, picking a weight that's challenging but doable is where you want to be. Now, if you're still working on getting familiar with a particular exercise, then yes, I absolutely recommend going lighter. But if you've been, squatting or deadlifting for a little bit, for like a month or two, for example, and you're comfortable with the mechanics of it, I would say start challenging your weight and pick a weight where you could do 1 to 2 more reps if you wanted to. Now, after that guidance, if you're still unsure and you pick a weight, for example, and it's just a little bit too heavy to where you can't actually finish out the set, I've been here many, many times. Just put that weight down, pick up the next lighter set, take the weight down on the barbell, for example, maybe 5 pounds, 10 pounds, and finish out the set. I've done this many times. This is actually a form of progressive overload, because if you pick up a heavier weight from the prior week, for example, and you can't finish out the set, but you did maybe like 5, 6, 7 reps before failure, this is progress, right? You were using the lighter weight for the entire set the week before, and now you can do several reps with that heavier weight. That to me is progress. You can always just finish out your set with the lighter weight, or just stop the set there, and then the next set that you have, if you have any more left, I would just use that lighter weight to finish out. Again, it's still progress, it's still great. So those are just some things to consider. The next mistake that I see beginners make is they rush through their sets or their exercise or the entire workout. So traditional strength training is all about control and intention. So when we're rushing through our sets and reps and rest, it becomes very hard to be intentional and to control our movements, right? And it limits us to the amount of weight that we could potentially lift because we're rushing through everything. With beginners, there tends to be a mentality of just get this over with as soon as possible, which I understand, but it actually will serve you better if you do take the time to slow down and be intentional about what you're doing and really think about the movement that you're performing. Rushing through exercises can also increase your risk of injury, right? Because we're not being as mindful as we could be, and there's chances of tweaking things, pulling muscles, things like that we want to avoid. So we can simply fix this by just slowing down a little bit and being more intentional about what we're doing and really thinking and being mindful of our movement. You can think about what muscle groups are working. And then I would also recommend taking longer rest. There's a lot of moments with virtual clients or clients that I've worked with in person where I'm like, okay, take a rest, relax for a minute. And they're like, after maybe 10, 15 seconds, they're like, okay, so we're going. That tells me a couple of things. That tells me, one, you could probably go a little bit heavier with the exercise. And two, we maybe need to go back to mindfulness and slowing down the movement a little bit. So definitely take your time, be mindful. And this goes back to appropriate weight selection too. So making sure you have the appropriate weight selection, something that's challenging but doable, but also makes you want to take your rest. So we want to look forward to our rest periods when it comes to strength training. Mistake number 5 is improper form. Now, I know this video is for beginners, so when we're just getting started, improper form is gonna come up regardless because you're learning a new skill. So it's completely okay if you don't get it right the first time. That's what practice is for. But continuing to groove those improper movement mechanics and, not going about fixing or progressing in our movement or improving our movement mechanics is where the issue lies. So it's okay if you're new to lifting, you will learn over the time. And if you're watching this video, I know that you want to learn how to lift better. So you are in the right place, you're doing the right thing, just keep going. Just keep looking for ways to improve your form. That's really how you're gonna fix it. Whether that's through coaching or through watching some video tutorials, just keep being a student of movement and trying to learn how to improve your movement and how you lift. Lifting is a skill and it can be learned, but it also needs a lot of practice. So you need a lot of movement practice to really improve your form. So again, it's okay. It's 100% okay. You're new and I'm happy you're here, but continue to seek out ways to improve how you move and be a student of movement, and you will be good to go. Mistake number 6 is going to be not warming up properly. So many beginners tend to jump right into their lifting session, no real warm up beforehand. And this can definitely lead to injury But it's also limiting on your lifting as well, because without a good warm up, without telling your body and your muscles that you're ready to start lifting some heavy things, we're probably not going to end up lifting the way that we want to lift. So our lifts may not feel that great. You may not move as well. And then also we may not be able to lift as heavy as we want to lift because we didn't do a proper warm up. The worst case scenario is that you do end up getting injured because you didn't do a proper warm up. But usually it just comes down to we're not optimizing our lifting potential and our workout potential. So we definitely want to be doing that. If you're really interested in getting stronger and, moving better, then you definitely want to incorporate some type of mobility warm up in conjunction with your warm up sets. I 100% guarantee you will lift better if you warm up properly. So doing proper mobility exercises that are going to help prime your muscles for whatever lifts you're doing that day, and also doing a few warm-up sets before you hit your working sets. It doesn't have to be a long time, and it doesn't have to take a long time. Anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes of warming up is usually good enough. Some people need a little bit more, but you'll learn as you go through your fitness journey, through your lifting journey, what your body really needs to feel good in your lifts. But do not skip your warm up. Definitely do not skip your warm up. Start incorporating some mobility if you aren't already, and then definitely be doing some warm-up sets with your lifts. Again, I have a free cheat sheet, Train Like a Pro. It does go through mobility. It gives you some examples of what a mobility exercise would be. YouTube is a great place as well to look up mobility exercises for specific exercises, but that cheat sheet is definitely a good place to help you map out what you should do for your mobility. Mistake number 7 that I see beginners do is doing too much volume. So too many sets, too many reps, too much lifting. This goes back to that it's kind of like ego lifting, but this is really more like on the volume side of things. Like you're just doing too much. Having too much volume in your workouts can lead to what's called DOMS, or delayed onset muscle soreness. It can make it extremely hard to recover from your workouts, which again is going to play into your consistency. You may end up missing your next session because you're still not recovered from the previous session. That's something we definitely want to avoid. And then again, like anything else, it can lead to injury because we're doing just way too much. It's too much stress on our muscles. It's too much stress on our body. So with lifting, we want to find the sweet spot of volume and intensity. We don't want to push too hard to the point where we're either going to get injured or we are not going to be able to come back or walk the next day. But we want to push hard enough to where we're going to see progress and we're going to see results. So this idea is called the minimum dose effect. So doing just enough to see results and then no more than that, because after that it becomes a little bit unnecessary. Generally speaking, this looks usually something like 2 to 4 sets per exercise, depending on what you're doing and what your goals are. And then again, just picking appropriate weight selection, rep ranges, and rest intervals. If you have a general goal of dropping some body fat, putting on muscle, and just feeling good and moving better in your body, doing something like a 10 by 10 workout is not necessary. And I will be the first one to tell you that you do not need to be doing that much volume. And again, it's going to be really, really hard to recover from something like that. So just keep that in mind. If you are doing, or if you are creating your own workouts, 2 to 4 sets is usually more than enough volume per exercise to get the job done, to get the results that you want to see. So those are the biggest mistakes that I see beginner lifters making, or even people who have been lifting for a little bit when it comes to lifting weights. This may not be an all-inclusive list, but it's definitely what I've noticed over my last 8 years of training people. But if you want to add to the conversation, just leave a comment below if you're watching on YouTube, or shoot me a voice message through the podcast and let me know what you think, if you're noticing some different things, or if you want me to address something on the podcast as well. I'm here to help you at the end of the day. So yeah, if there's a topic that you want me to go over when it comes to fitness, nutrition, wellness, mindset, I am here for you, and I'd be happy to create that video for you. I hope this was helpful. I hoped it was insightful and helped you kind of think about things that you may have been doing or you are doing in the gym right now that you may need to tweak or adjust a little bit just to make your lifting a little bit better. But yeah, thank you for watching. Be sure to grab the free cheat sheet below. It's completely free. If you don't have a plan already, this will definitely help you map out a plan for your workouts, help you start seeing the progress that you want to see in the gym. And again, it's completely free, so make sure you grab it. Be sure to subscribe and like this video if you want to see more videos just like this, and I will see you next week. Bye.